Good morning to you. Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com, here with your hurricane outlook and discussion for the 31st of August, 2016. In the Central Pacific, we have Hurricane Madeline, which is weakening dramatically, and that is no surprise to me. The sort of microclimate of the area around Hawaii is interesting and mysterious all at the same time, and does weird things to hurricanes coming towards Hawaii from the east. Nevertheless, hurricane warnings out for the big island of Hawaii. Looking at the satellite picture, this is substantially degraded from where it was yesterday. Still going to be a lot of heavy rain, no doubt about that, but the overall impact from this as a hurricane for Hawaii is going down with each passing hour. And the fact that we have these volcanoes over here, the volcanic structure, the mountains over there, I mean, they don't move, okay? And so when this runs into that, the storm and the hurricane is moving, and it's going to hit an immovable object, and it'll do even more damage to that circulation, especially on that north side. I don't want to diminish the overall impact that this is going to bring a lot of rain to the area, and that is something for cause for concern. So the high waves that are coming in as well. But in terms of a hurricane direct hit, or this having a well-defined core, it doesn't look like that will be the case, so that's good news for Hawaii. In the meantime, we will watch Lester to see if it tracks in the same direction. Overall, we have a couple of days to continue to monitor that, and I will do so. Meanwhile, in the Gulf of Mexico, the very frustrating, annoying system here that came off Africa, what began this journey more than 10 days ago, still festering in the Gulf, not a tropical storm yet. Very difficult to understand what's going on with this, but pressure's down to 1,001 millibars. It is expected to become a tropical storm. You can even tell by this satellite picture alone that the outflow is improving. Very deep thunderstorms or convection, probably pretty close to the center of circulation in here somewhere, and it should strengthen. And some of the modeling indicating that it could become a hurricane. Last night's European model developed it into a hurricane as it got up into this area, and some of the other models as well, some not so much. But when the global models start to show this strengthening, and the GFS and the European both generally show a period of fairly substantial intensification in this window right here as it approaches the coast, that last 12 hours or so, and hopefully it doesn't do it before then, but when they start showing that, and they're in pretty good agreement, especially this close into the forecast period, you have to take notice. The forecast track continues to be very interesting for people, not only in Florida, of course, the Big Bend area throughout parts of the Panhandle, but also southeast Georgia, the low country of South Carolina, and then up here towards the North Carolina Outer Banks. I am leaving for Florida in less than an hour, and I'm probably going to set up cameras and then leave and come back up here and just let my cameras do the work down there. They're unmanned, they'll run for 30 plus hours, and I'll go back sometime next week and pick them up. You know, I mean, this is going to keep me busy for quite a while. My office and my home is right here in Wilmington, North Carolina, so you can see this is going to pass fairly close to my neck of the woods, and then I would not be surprised if this comes up and tries to come back towards the coast somehow up here. This could be several days of just unbelievable, like, wow, we've never seen something like that, especially in August, early September. You know, you remember Sandy came up out of the deep tropics and turned and then came back in. This is a little different. This is a purely tropical system. Sandy certainly was coming out of the deep tropics in late October of 2012, but this is early September. The water temperatures up here off the coast of the mid-Atlantic, the water temperatures are above normal by several degrees, and in many cases the water temperatures just offshore are in the low 80s. So this is going to be something to watch very closely, not just for folks in Florida. Now, one of the reasons that this is not feeding back as quickly as you would expect, all of these different areas of vorticity or energy in the atmosphere, there's TD8, this is another area of energy sitting here east of Jacksonville, southeast of Savannah, and then you have our depression sitting down here with some energy kind of being pulled. You know, it's just too much going on at once. This looks like a giant hurricane or something. It's not. It's just the tropical wave and then some other energy wrapping around it. But once, especially TD8 just kind of gets out of the way, this should start to ramp up quickly. There's only so much energy available in a given area, and this is competing for that energy in the atmosphere, trying to draw that latent heat out of the ocean, the Gulf of Mexico and the western Atlantic. A lot going on in a fairly close proximity, so that's probably part of the reason. The wind pattern a little bit more conducive for development now. The upper level winds you can see here are clockwise around the system for the most part. A little bit of sort of blowing across. This is an earlier satellite picture. This will update later on. But for the most part, the upper level winds are more favorable now. For the most of the circulation, it's good to moderate in terms of, we don't have any red over it for now. No destructive wind shear, or as we see here, unfavorable. It's neutral to favorable over the system, and more than likely, once it starts to turn with the flow and that divergent pattern in the atmosphere sets in where the air is spreading out, it creates more lift in the atmosphere, allows those thunderstorms to go up more efficiently. This should start to strengthen as it's on its way in over the next 48 to 60 hours. Water temperatures in the Gulf of Mexico in the mid to upper 80s, especially up here near the shelf water area. This will get mixed out pretty good and fairly quickly, but overall the skin of the Gulf of Mexico, the top several meters of the Gulf, very warm. The upper ocean heat content, luckily we don't have one of these, this sort of warm eddy sitting right here. That would be a nightmare if that was the case. As it stands, the depression is currently located over this area where the upper ocean heat content is fairly substantial, and a track something like this, for example, would bring it across, decent amounts of upper ocean heat content. The bottom line is there's plenty of untapped fuel. The only plus here is we're not seeing any of the high end of the scale. For example, what we have in the Caribbean, if the Gulf was, like that and all filled in with that white color there, which is very high energy amounts in the upper ocean, then we would have serious concerns. But because of the shallow nature of this area of the what we call the bathymetry, the shallow continental shelf that exists through this region, it's hard to have high ocean heat content. You have very warm water close to shore, but wait until this passes through. That water temperature profile will cool down very quickly. Alright, so the storm surge threat to me is the biggest impact and the biggest threat to life right now as far as this track goes. This is the very latest of the storm surge prediction for this particular system. We have Appalachia Bay up here and then down towards Homosassa Springs here, and in between anywhere from 2, 3, maybe 5 feet of water above ground level is expected. And if I zoom in on the map here, we can see starting in the Appalachia Bay area, a lot of these rivers up here have pronunciations that I'm not even going to venture to try at this point. So if you know the geography of this area and you have interest here, you can certainly pick out and see on this map. And by the way, this is on the National Hurricane Center homepage under the information for TD number 9. It just needs to be named a Tropical Storm Hermine so we can call it that. But anyway, so you see up here near St. Marks, Florida, all the way around the Big Bend area. The blue area is 1 foot. The yellow area is 3 to 5 feet, or let me scroll down, make sure I got it right. The yellow area is greater than 3 feet, and then the orange is greater than 6 feet above the ground. So if we zoom in even more, you can see, a lot of this area is unpopulated, but you do have these little notches that come down into the Gulf where people live. We don't have a giant population center down here, but we do have folks that live along the Gulf here, and this is going to be pretty rough. You look down here towards Suwannee and down towards the Cedar Key area, Horseshoe Beach. A lot of these areas, especially here between Suwannee, up the Suwannee River, and Horseshoe Beach, this is going to be inundated pretty substantially. And even the town of Suwannee, that's where I'm going to put one of the cameras that I'm taking with me. and then on down towards Cedar Key. The wave action is going to be substantial. And then you get into these areas like the Gulf Hammock, where it's just kind of concave shaped in here, so the onshore flow and the water is easily piled into that area, and it rises very efficiently, spreads out across that lowland, and then you get a lot of inundation, all the way down here towards Homosassa and Homosassa Springs. Very, very bad situation. I mean, this is, thank goodness it's not a Category 3, okay, we'll say that, but when you're talking about the potential of 5 or 6 feet of Gulf of Mexico coming into your town, that's not good. I don't care what causes it. The superstorm of 1993 in some of these areas put 12 feet of water. So it doesn't take much because of the shallow nature of the coast down here to drive in that surge and cause a lot of problems. So like I said, I'm going to be heading down to the region starting today, and one of the best ways you can follow, I want to plug this for a minute because we've put a lot of effort into it over the years, and now is where it can really come into play for you. Like it says here, you've tracked it for several days using some great tracking tools, whether it's ours or any of the other tracking apps that are out there. But once it makes landfall, the impact, that's what you want to know. That's what really matters. And our app, Hurricane Impact, is the go-to app for that. It's the only app that's going to actually take you into the area that's going to be affected. I'll be updating the blog. There's also the Twitter and the Facebook post in there. So anything that I post into the site, Twitter and Facebook, will show up right there in the app. You don't have to leave the app and go to your separate apps to see that. It's all right there. The video section is going to be very, very important. I do not have live video in the app. It's going to have too many cameras going, as many as 4, and it's just really hard to do that in an iPhone app and keep it all working. So the video blogs that I will do, for example, I could be anywhere, shoot a quick update, post it to the app, and it's there in less than 90 seconds. It's amazing, and this will be like a running diary of entries, if you will, like I do with these daily outlooks, except this will be on the road. So anything that I think is important to me will be important to you, hopefully, and it'll be in the app. Just make sure you pull down to refresh. You know how you pull down your Twitter to refresh that. And then the surge cam that I'm going to set up. We have this really amazing technology. I'm going to set up this surge camera. It's an image. It's a JPEG image. It's not live video. The picture will update at least once per minute. There will be a map to show you exactly where it's located along the Gulf Coast. We only have one of these for the app right now. Hopefully we'll add more. The app costs money to keep maintaining it, and if we have enough support, then the app can grow. And obviously if there are hurricanes, there's interest in what we're doing, and we try to grow from there. But the weather stations that are part of the app, I'm not taking any weather stations with me because I have to get back up here to North Carolina, where this could be coming and affecting the Outer Banks maybe. So I might set up a weather station out here in Rodanthe. We have a house out there that we can use that's got a nice high roof line that I can get that up above 30 feet above the ground. So I'm literally going to drive down from Wilmington here, set up the cameras along the Gulf here, probably one in Horseshoe Beach, one in Suwannee, and one at Cedar Key. These are live cameras that I'll be setting up, and those will be streaming at the HurricaneTrack.com homepage with links there. You can't miss it. You just go to the homepage, and that's where it'll be. And then I got to probably just turn around and come back up here. May not even be there in person for the landfall. We'll wait and see. I just got to make sure I can outrun the system and not put myself in any danger trying to come back to North Carolina and get ahead of it. And like I said, it's going to be a long few days. So subscribe for future updates. Get the app to have everything aggregated into one convenient package for you, Hurricane Impact. And I'll be on the road starting in about an hour, and I'll post updates along the way. And once I get into the hotel tonight and settle down, I'm taking this laptop with me, and I'll produce another high-quality video blog like this for you. All right? So a lot happening out there with this. Keep up with it, and I'll be on top of it every step of the way. I am Mark Sudduth for HurricaneTrack.com, and I'll see you from the road on my way to Florida.